But first, I'm John Bachman. In history, 317 million miles away from Earth. That's mission control at the European Space Agency in the last hour after a lander successfully touched down on a comet. This is the first time this has ever happened. The mission nothing less than finding our origins.
If life really emerged on Earth, or if it might have been brought to Earth via such comets many billion years in the past. And I think this is really worth it.
Well, that's the leader there, Philae, just before touching down on the comet, known simply as 67P. It'll now get to work scoping up samples from the surface of that comet to date back to the very beginning of our solar system. And Congress is getting back to work today, and we'll be talking about Ebola. CDC Chief Dr. Tom Frieden, Dr. Anthony Fauci from the National Institutes of Health, and Health and Human Services Secretary Sylvia Burwell-Matthews are all expected to testify before the Senate Appropriations Committee during a hearing this afternoon. It is considering the White House's request for $6.2 billion to fight the disease in West Africa. And the Senate will be getting another Republican come January. More than a week after Election Day, Dan Sullivan is finally the winner in Alaska's Senate race, beating out incumbent Mark Begich. After the count of absentee ballots started, it became apparent that Begich would not be able to overcome Sullivan's 8,000 vote lead, but the senator so far is still refusing to concede. And Russia is apparently sending new help to rebels in eastern Ukraine as the airport in the city of Donetsk comes under fire. NATO says troops, tanks, and artillery have been streaming across the Russian-Ukraine border all day. Observers in Ukraine say they've been seeing unmarked convoys for several days now. And President Obama is now in Myanmar, continuing his 8-day Pacific tour. But before leaving a 2-day economic summit in Beijing, he cut a deal with the Chinese on pollution. He promised that the United States will cut greenhouse gas emissions by nearly 30%. That is below what they were supposed to be in 2005 by 2025.
This is a goal, but it is an achievable goal. It will double the pace at which we're reducing carbon pollution in the United States.
And in a bit of surprise, China's president made a similar promise. China traditionally has shied away from ever making any commitments on cutting pollution. And according to Politico, President Obama is also expected to use executive orders to unleash several new climate regulations over the next few months. And comedian Jon Stewart is not exactly buying the White House's line that the U.S. troops heading to Iraq are advisors.
When you hear the president say, well, we're going to send in some more advisors, how many? Well, about 3,000. You know, it gets real Vietnam-y to me.
No. When we say advisors, they're advisors. I mean, there are not troops being deployed in that
shoot
combat.
that guy. Like that kind of advice? What?
Well, Samantha Power, the U.S. ambassador to the UN, there talking about the troops. We'll have another Newsmax Now update coming up for you in 30 minutes. I'm John Bachman. We'll now send it back to Midpoint. Host Ed Berliner.